Don't open the door. I know what you're feeling. Your heart is a trapped bird battering against your ribs. Your palms are slick. That biology, that's fear, that's useful. But that tug in your chest, that urge to unlock the deadbolt because you recognize the voice screaming on the other side, that is hope, and hope is a trap. It's day 3. The grid is dead. The water pressure is gone. The silence of the machines has been replaced by the noise of the desperate. Right now, standard survival manuals, those glossy fantasies written by weekend warriors with full bellies, tell you to build a community. They tell you there is safety in numbers. They tell you to gather the neighbors, pool your resources, and start a garden. Lies, all of it. In the first 168 hours, the first week, a community is not a safety net. It is a biological bomb. It is a calorie furnace. It is a death sentence. Listen to the knocking again. That isn't your neighbor Dave. That isn't the woman who walks her golden retriever. That is a drowning victim. And what do drowning victims do when you swim out to save them? They climb on top of you. They push you down. They drown you to buy themselves one more breath of air. Physics doesn't care about your altruism. Buoyancy is a math equation, and right now, you are the only thing floating. If you open that door, you don't gain an ally. You gain a mouth. You gain a panic vector. You gain a target on your back that heat-seeking missiles couldn't miss. The first week is the great filter. The herd stampedes, the herd panics, and the herd dies. Spite remains. Trash survives. The herd rots.
Let's strip away morality. Morality is a luxury for people with electricity. Let's look at the logistics of banding together. The average human in a high-stress, adrenaline dump scenario burns 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day just shaking from fear. You have a pantry. Maybe you prepared. You have 10 days of food for one person. Now you let in the family of 4 next door because you're a good person. Do the math. 10 days of food divided by 5 people equals 2 days of food. But it's worse than that. It's not linear. It's exponential decay. Because when 5 people are trapped in a house with no power, the sanitation fails 5 times faster. The oxygen in the room gets stale 5 times faster. The noise level, the crying children, the arguing adults, the sheer volume of clumsy movement increases by a factor of 10. You think numbers scare off predators? Wrong. In the chaos of the first week, predators are looking for patterns. A lone wolf, moving silently through the shadows, is hard to track. A community is a beacon. It smells like cooking fires. It sounds like arguments. It looks like a warehouse of supplies waiting to be liberated. Groups are heavy. Groups are slow. Groups vote on decisions when they should be acting on instinct. While your committee is debating whether to ration the tuna or eat the beans, the guy who embraced the spite philosophy has already stripped the pharmacy 3 blocks over and vanished into the tree line. The biggest threat in a group isn't starvation. It's the safety bias. When you are alone, you are hyper-vigilant. Every creak is a threat. Every shadow is an assassin. You are alive because you are terrified. When you are in a group, you outsource your vigilance. You think Dave is watching the door. Dave thinks Sarah is watching the door. Sarah thinks you are watching the door. Nobody is watching the door. The first week is a crucible. It melts down the weak structures, the psychological glue that holds a society together. The social contract evaporates in 72 hours without law enforcement. If you try to build a village while the city is still burning, you are just building a larger funeral pyre. Stop looking for friends. Start looking for leverage.
Let's talk about the physics of the human animal, specifically a phenomenon called emotional contagion. This isn't poetry. This is neurology. When a human being enters a state of panic, their body releases cortisol and adrenaline. Their pupils dilate. Their pheromones change. They emit a frequency of distress that is biologically contagious. If you are alone, you can regulate this. You can box breathe. You can focus on a task. You can turn the volume of the world down. Introduce one panicked person into a calm room. Just one. Evolutionary biology dictates that the group will sink to the most distressed individual. It's a survival mechanism from the savannah. If one monkey screams leopard, the other monkeys don't ask for evidence. They scream too. In a survival scenario, panic is an energy tax. It burns glucose, it clouds judgment, it causes fine motor skills to disintegrate. A group in the first week is a feedback loop of hysteria. One person cries and the morale breaks. One person gets sick and the Eugene protocol collapses. One person questions the leadership and mutiny simmers. This is the thermodynamics of chaos. Entropy increases. Order requires energy input. You do not have the energy to maintain order in a group of frightened sheep. You need to be a rock, a cold, hard, unmoving object. And rocks don't cluster together for warmth. They sit in the cold and they endure. The killer mechanism isn't the cold, it isn't the hunger, it is the cognitive load. Every person you add to your equation adds variables. Variables are failure points. Does Dave have a heart condition? Is Sarah hiding a bite mark? Is the kid carrying a screams at night psychological trigger? You cannot solve for X when X is a variable that eats your food and screams at the darkness. Simplify the equation. Remove the variables. You are alone. You need to sleep, but sleep is when the monsters come out. The tactical manuals will sell you battery-operated motion alarms, but batteries die. Electronics fail in the cold. Physics never runs out of juice. You need a sentry that runs on gravity and garbage. Here is the build. It costs $0. It saves your life. The materials: 3 empty tin cans, soup, beans, whatever. Lick them clean. A handful of gravel, marbles, or broken spark plug ceramic. Dental floss. Mint waxed is strong, unwaxed tangles. Use what you have. Duct tape. The build. Step 1. The rattle.
Put the gravel inside the cans. Seal the tops with duct tape. Now you have a shaker. It shouldn't sound like a toy. It should sound like a bone breaking. Step 2. The web. Run the dental floss across your entry points, hallways, stairwells, the space behind the front door. Not at ankle height. Everyone looks for tripwires at the ankles. Run it at chest height or shin height. Vary the elevation. Chaos is the goal. Step 3. The suspension. Suspend the cans from the floss. Balance them precariously on door handles or furniture edges connected to the line. The mechanics. When the intruder pushes the door or walks through the dark hallway, they snag the floss. Gravity takes over. The cans drop. It does 2 things. 1. Identification. You wake up and you know exactly where they are. 2. Psychological shock. The intruder is moving in stealth mode. Their adrenaline is peaked. Sudden, sharp, inorganic noise triggers a freeze response. While they're freezing, you are aiming. Trash doesn't sleep. Trash doesn't bargain. Trash watches the door.
You have secured the inside. Now you need to secure the outside. Most survivors try to make their home look like a fortress. They put up "keep out" signs. This is stupid. This is advertising. A fortress implies treasure. A fortress invites a siege. If you look strong, people will want to test that strength. You don't want to look strong. You want to look contaminated. This is the quarantine bluff. The method. 1. The visual repellent. Take a bucket of mud, mix in ash or oil coloring, make it look vile, smear it on your front door, make it look like someone dragged themselves inside and died. The olfactory wall. If you have rotting garbage, don't bury it. Leave a bag of it near the entryway. The smell of rot is the oldest warning sign in our DNA. It says disease, death, leave. The sign. Don't write "keep out." Write "sick inside" or "typhus." Fear of violence motivates some men. Fear of invisible liquefying disease motivates all men. Be the house that looks already dead. Be the corpse in the gutter. No one robs a grave when there are fresh houses next door. Your goal isn't to win a fight. Your goal is to be skipped. The first week is a fire. It burns through the fuel of society. It burns the unprepared, the hopeful, and the dependent. If you survive the first 168 hours, the dynamic changes. The herd will be gone. The weak will be gone. Then, and only then, can you look for equals. But for now, in the chaos, isolation is your shield. Silence is your armor. Don't let the guilt eat you. You didn't break the world. You are just refusing to be buried by the debris. Let them knock. Let them scream. Let the silence return. Hope is a trap. Physics is law. Survival is rebellion.